No. Frank, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, in China, they've got this shit all figured out. Okay? There, it's not even pronounced Bitcoin. It's like Bitcoin. Okay? This shit can only go up in price. I know you inherited whatever, however much money when your father bit the bullet, man. When your father died, you got this burning a hole in your pocket. This is a way to like double, triple your money at least. There's this scientist on the internet. She's the one scientist in a million you'd actually want to fuck. And get this, she's even got a fucking porn star name. Kathy Wood. Yeah. Kathy Wood, man. If you don't fucking believe me, Google her up. It's a scientific fact. According to this scientist, who is a hot chick I would want to bang, that dude, even though it's going to cost you $60,000 to buy in now, it's going to be worth a minimum 100 grand. People are like arguing, is it going to be worth $500,000, 1 million, or what within just a few years? Frank, this is one of those rare occasions on which something is really high risk, but is absolutely fucking certain and everybody knows it's obvious and it's a scientific fact at the same damn time. You remember from the fucking vegan protest march? You remember that chick, Susie? Yeah, I guess I'd remember her more than you. She was the one with the fucking harpoon. I respect the artistic statement, although it's kind of a turnoff to see a chick harpoon in a red hole like that. Anyway, Susie, she knows that like your girl watches your Instagram. So she asked me to ask you to set up a blank Instagram account. I'll tell her what the account is. She can message you there. You guys can meet up and fuck. Oh, but look, either way, I want 10%. Okay? This shit I'm telling you about Bitcoin, dude, you're going to make a fucking fortune out of it. So like, I think, you know, for giving you this tip, you know, I think I should get 10%. If you and Susie hit it off, like once you got that trust and loving shit established, you know, fucking her behind your girlfriend's back, you got to line me up for a three-way, bro. I mean, I think that counts as 10%. Like, if it's two guys and one girl, and I only stick my dick into her halfway, that's like 50% of 1/3. Okay, it's not quite 10%, but like rounding error.
6 months later.
I don't have a goddamn thing to apologize for. You keep this straight. You start taking responsibility for your actions. When I told you to take all of the money you had inherited from your father and to invest it in Bitcoin, it's $60,000. When I told you I was 100% certain that Bitcoin would increase in value from there, that was not financial advice. I was not acting as your financial advisor. I think I told you very clearly, this is not financial advice. But if the value of your investment had increased, we had an agreement whereby you would pay me 10%. That does not fucking mean that now that your investment has gone down, now that you lost all the fucking money you inherited from your father, now you can turn around and ask me to pay you 10% of the decrease. No, it doesn't work that way. And another thing, I don't fucking know why you keep raising this whole issue about how you broke up with your girlfriend or she dumped you or whatever the fuck because you slept with Susie, this chick I lined you up with. Dude, the fact that I wanted to have a three-way with the two of you, if it worked out, does not mean I want to suck your dick now just because it didn't work out. Your main girlfriend dumped you, the bitch on the side turned out to be crazy, and now you're all alone fucking masturbating, watching I don't even know what kind of crazy Japanese porn. Well, look, man, I'm not going to suck your dick, okay? So stop asking.
A relationship with just one other person is this long, slow process of carving grooves into each other, molding yourselves to each other. And that process is complicated and exciting and terrifying at times because just one other person has so many facets and you have so many facets that binding yourselves to each other with any sort of permanence is hard. Trying to do that with 3 people, trying to do that with 4 people, I don't see, and it could be my own shortcomings, my own limitations. I don't see how you do that.
All right, so if you're new to Bitcoin, let's catch you up. The now infamous stock to flow model is this colorful chart right over here that was released back in March 2019 by the pseudonymous Plan B.
I own the domain name hope.com. Bitcoin is hope. Those millennials that are buying Bitcoin are buying hope.
And I have friends who are poly. I have friends with more than one partner. I've been to poly weddings, couple. I've never been to a poly third anniversary party. I know that's an asshole thing to say, but it happens to be true.
One of the most amazing things about the stock to flow model is it was released in the depth of a bear market. Bitcoin's price was hovering around $3,000 or $4,000, yet it has been like a crystal ball for Bitcoin's rising value.
You talked about Bitcoin. It's about $20,000 right now. You said you thought back then 5 years' time from now it could be $500,000. Do you stick by that?
According to ARK's estimates at the time, the price of one Bitcoin could exceed $1 million by 2030. I don't think people believed me when I said it on stage last week at Bitcoin 2022. But I meant it.
Again, it's polyamorous is many loves, not a lot of sex. Those two things might be connected, but without the amory part, it's not polyamory.
Other people may really think that they are polyamorous in the all-encompassing sense of the word in the same way that you are, but really just be available for sex.
Actually, back in June, after Bitcoin's price plummeted, he said his worst case scenario for the rest of the year was August $47,000 per coin, September $43,000, October $63,000, and worst case for November and December, $98,000 and $135,000.
Those millennials that are buying Bitcoin are buying hope. And when they're buying Tesla, they're buying hope. And if you're buying a diversified portfolio of companies in Zimbabwe or Venezuela, it's hopeless.
It's not really normal to have people, once they're past the honeymoon stage of having a relationship, even within polyamory, for people to be like tearing their clothes off of each other. That's not really that normal. It's very understandable for someone of his age to be stressed out about work, and one time of having sex per week for a lot of couples, especially as they start living together and as they start entering a married life, is quite normal.
When an expert tells you that something is normal, be aware of the possibility that what they in fact mean is it's tragic, it's terrible, it's bad, it's evil, it's wrong. But it just so happens to be a problem they don't want to solve. A problem they can't make money selling you a solution to. And so it becomes a problem that's convenient for us to pretend isn't a problem at all.
It's kind of unrealistic. I don't think that it's a problem with him. And even he may, want to sleep with you more often and may struggle with whatever anxiety medication he's taking and with stress from work, but once a week is pretty average and pretty normal.
All existing systems of marriage are bad. Christian marriage is bad. Hindu marriage is bad. Buddhist marriage is bad. Muslim marriage, do you even want to get me fucking started? But a whole lot of people have to look in the mirror and admit to themselves that the problem isn't the system of marriage they signed up for. It's the particular woman or it's the particular man they are married to. The caller, and this call-in advice show, if you want to think of it that way, I think it's actually via email, but the caller calling in for help, she has somehow managed to convince herself that she can save her marriage to this man who only fucks her once a week by transitioning from Christian-style monogamy to a polyamorous open relationship. Meaning, if he only has sex once a week, he will have sex with her far less often than once a week once he starts having sex with other people as well. That very simple quantitative problem never gets addressed. Not by the person writing and asking for help, and not by the so-called expert who begins with this lie that having sex once a week is normal. That's only true in the same sense that dying of a heart attack at age 65 is normal, in the sense that senility is normal. You're saying it's normal. Does that mean it's not avertible? Does that mean you can't do better if you act now decisively?
I've been with my fiance for only a little over a year. In April of 2021, he started taking medication for his anxiety, which lowered his sex drive, and then it really lowered once he started getting busy with work. He's always so stressed and anxious with work, which really messes with his sex drive, and it doesn't help that I talk with him about how it's affecting me because it just puts more pressure on him. We also only have sex once a week, if that. I'm considering bringing up having an open relationship, but I don't even know if I can handle it. It's not that I'm afraid he would stop loving me or that I would lose him if that happens, it happens. I just don't want the other woman to feel she has any power over him or matters or is better than me. Especially if it's people he's hooked up with in the past and kept in his life as friends. I don't want them to think they had some type of hold on him. For it to be strictly sex and not a friendship. Knowing him though, I think that he'd want a friendship with them. He has a lot more girlfriends than guy friends.
Here's where it gets really fucking disturbing, my dude. Because human nature hasn't changed, while our social mores have. What she is describing, what she says she wants, is, in effect, slavery. And it would be, to be blunt, sex slavery. She wants her husband only to have sex with women who are inferior to her as the mistress of the house, inferior in every way. Women who won't have any power over him. Women whom he won't relate to as friends.
When I think about doing an open relationship, I think of all the rules I'd want. Don't sleep with people you slept before and are still friends with, which brings in my point earlier of not wanting that person to feel like they had power over him. For it to be strictly sex and not a friendship. It's not that I'm afraid he would stop loving me or that I would lose him if that happens, it happens. I just don't want the other woman to feel she has any power over him or matters or is better than me.
Why? So that she can, in her own way, pursue similarly dehumanizing asymmetrical relationships with men. The person who earns their living giving advice of this kind, they don't risk anything of theirs by giving this advice. In the same way that YouTubers who tell you to take all your money and invest it in Bitcoin aren't actually taking any risk themselves. Isn't it a very strange thing to tell another human being to just settle down and accept their shitty marriage with a prescription drug addict who can barely manage to fuck them once a week? Risking none of your own skin, so to speak, and then to sit back and pretend that there's nothing immoral and nothing evil when they tell you that this is what they want. Not for the husband to have other friends, other lovers, other women he respects, but that, as she said herself, she wants him to have sex only with women who are not even his friends. Let me ask you about two seemingly unrelated statistics. How many times per week do married couples have sex? What percentage of people who invest in the stock market lose money, lose more money than they gain? Within the last couple of years, what percentage of people lost more money than they made with Bitcoin in particular? Don't those seem like obvious, easy questions to answer? They're not. They're not, because everybody is motivated to lie. Who are you going to ask for the frequency of sex within marriage? What if you only asked therapists? What if you only asked counselors and psychiatrists, your clients, the people who come in to complain that they're dissatisfied with their marriage, that they're dissatisfied with how much sex they're having? How many times per week, how many times per month are they having sex? Then you might have an interesting statistic.
What if you only looked at people who sued their stockbroker, people who bit the hand that fed them, so to speak, filed a complaint with the SEC, filed a complaint with the government about the investment firm handling their portfolio. People who were not happy about losing money on the stock market. Well, that's a really interesting source of information. But if you don't work with sources that have that bias, the bias created by a complaint about a crisis, the bias created by only considering the perspective of people who know they have a problem they want to solve, all you're going to hear on the internet are people boasting about, celebrating about how much money they made on the stock market and about how great or how wonderful the sex is in their lives, how wonderful their relationships are, how great it's going. You cannot simply have a scientist hold a clipboard and ask people, how many times did you have sex this month? How many times did you have sex this week? The statistics generated by that method will always be wrong.
Why? 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 Why?
Because of human pride. People are proud when they make money. They're especially proud when they make more money than they expected to make, more money than they think would be normal. And they're proud when they have enough sex or when they exceed the mark of what they think is normal. And they're ashamed and they conceal anything and everything else.